Welcome to the Busted Business Bureau podcast. My name is Christian Borky. This podcast is produced by the Lincoln Lodge, and if you want to support this podcast, you can go to patreon.com/bustedbizbureau. You are currently listening to the Monsanto season. Every episode stands alone. You can listen to them in any order. I would start with the first one, though. I would highly recommend it.
Mm-hmm. I would also recommend that.
I am joined again by pop culture expert / Drake superstan, Blender Bluid.
It's them. It's Themy Neutron.
Oh my god.
I'm also joined by a woman who could fluently explain what the Superfund is, but had no idea who Donald Rumsfeld is, Amy Doe.
I still don't know who he is.
Okay, Donald Rumsfeld was Secretary of Defense under Gerald Ford. I even put a paragraph in here about him because it's time to explain Donald Rumsfeld. I only know him as the Secretary of Defense, though, during Bush. Specifically, he was Secretary of Defense during Abu Ghraib. Does that mean anything to either one of you?
No. Can't say it does.
It was a really, really big torture and abuse scandal on Iraqi prisoners during the Iraq War. He tried to resign after it, and Bush was like, no.
Oh.
And then, referencing Guantanamo Bay prisoners later, they were talking about, like, making prisoners stand up for a long time in Guantanamo Bay for up to, like, 4 hours in, like, the same position.
Oh, no.
And then he wrote a hand note to them saying, I stand for 8 to 10 hours a day. Why is standing limited to 4 hours? DR. Welcome to the Busted Business Bureau podcast. I'm sorry to start off with an insanely dark. I might cut that. I just wanted to tell you guys who Donald Rumsfeld is.
No.
That guy fucking sucks.
Yeah, boo.
Piece of shit.
That
Terrible
was
guy.
wild.
Oh, I also have a live show on October 1st. I forgot to put that in the beginning.
Oh, interesting. Whose birthday could that possibly be?
It is, in fact, my birthday, October 1st.
Oh.
If you're this far into the season and you haven't gotten tickets yet, I would get your tickets now because they
do
are
it.
probably running out by the time this episode airs.
I
Link in the
bought
description.
5 just now, so clock's ticking, everyone.
Oof.
Yeah, catch those on Ticketmaster. They will be reselling for $5,000 a pop.
The gauntlet has been thrown down, y'all. All right, instead of a charming anecdote or quote to button the episode, I'm just going to dive right the fuck in today.
Ooh.
Do it.
I know. Well, you know what? I'm apparently going to start with a fucking Donald Rumsfeld anecdote. God.
Wait, okay. Do either of you have any good... I'm assuming... I've been told that this episode is about agriculture.
Yeah.
Any farm stories?
Well, I was going to do a little ad read for the place I get my vegetables every summer.
Oh, okay.
Angelic Organics. I get a box every 2 weeks. I split it with Sarah, and it's grown on a farm like 2 hours north from here. I celebrated, my birthday in like 2020 on the farm because I'm technically a shareholder in the farm, so I just got to go. Yeah. I went and I pet goats and I picked flowers and had a real fucking good time. Angelic Organics. Busted Business Bureau listeners get 10% off their first... I'm kidding. But yeah, Angelic Organics, Farmer John. There was a movie about him called The Truth About Farmer John or The Search for Farmer John or something. He's just like a really fabulous guy. Wow. And he's also a farmer and he rocks.
Aww.
I know. That's
so cool.
Vegetables every summer. Yeah. So I show up at like a location in Lakeview and just like pick up my box and then... they fill it again in 2 weeks, and they send it back to Lakeview.
Wow.
In 2 weeks from now. So I get to go to the farm whenever I want. And
That's
I will.
awesome.
I can't wait to go again. That's my farm story.
I love that.
Yeah. Shout out to Growing Home Inc. in Inglewood. They do a similar thing. They also have boxes of produce. They work with a lot of formerly incarcerated people, teaching them how to work on a farm, helping them connect to jobs and certifications. Shout out to them. Shout out to God. Shout out to Jesus.
The original farmer.
Did Jesus invent agriculture?
I was talking about God.
What? Same guy.
Same guy, different font.
Amy's been eminently quotable this entire series.
On a roll. Okay.
My farm story is that... What? I'm not allowed to tell a farm story?
I would love to hear
No,
the farm
please.
story.
In Japan, in the tiny town that my grandma's from, there's my grandma's house and then a rice paddy right behind, and how they like spray down the rice plants with pesticides and stuff is by using a remote control helicopter.
Cool.
Wow.
Cool. Is it like a little toy helicopter or is it like a farming helicopter?
It's a remote control helicopter that's about the size of like a Mac monitor, like a big one.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
And guys in like safety gear and helmets come and stand in the edge of the field with a big old remote controller.
It's not a toy.
And it is a farming tool.
Sure.
It has like a dispenser on the bottom of it.
I feel like I've seen that. Yeah.
Yeah, and it utilizes like the helicopter spinny, and then the air goes down, and then so it works to also spread without having to spray as much.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah.
Well, you think it could also be used as a toy, though?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that, you know, as like practice, you know, the farm drone guys really take them out for a spin every now and again, you know, to like test the spray efficacy or whatever.
Nice.
I'm pretty sure they like have put water in it and like sprayed each other or something. That sounds like a fun
Just
hazing
good
activity.
old summer fun.
Just dudes being broke.
All right, here's part 1 of this episode, History of Seeds. If I actually did an exhaustive... Oh, sorry. Wait, hang on. I'll edit half of what I say out this fucking episode.
No, don't edit it. They need to see how the milk is made.
Yeah, we need to see Christian squeezing these sentences out.
So this episode is titled the Roundup episode for good reason, because Roundup refers to 2 different products that are basically Monsanto's flagship thing. It is the thing that launches them into the global agricultural business, agricultural technology or whatever. So it's called the Roundup episode, History of Seeds. If I actually did an exhaustive history on seeds, we'd be sitting here all day. But at risk of stating the obvious, the way seeds have worked since literally agriculture began is that we plant them, have a yield or whatever, and we save the seeds to then plant them in the future. Over time, this is how you get different varieties of tomatoes, for example. I know personally from Angelic Organics, like, he takes a tomato, if it's a really good yield, like, those tomato seeds might, you know, yield sweeter tomatoes or bigger tomatoes or whatever. Like, that's just how agriculture has worked for forever. And that's how evolution works. Just like sometimes you get bigger tomatoes, then they yield bigger tomatoes. You know what I mean? So, at Angelic Organics, his corn is, like, sweeter. The carrots are fucking massive. Somebody complained that they were horse-sized carrots. Anyways, it's different. Part of the difficulty of farming is that there are invasive weeds that grow and kill plants that farmers are trying to cultivate. The advent of herbicides in the whatever century was a blessing and a curse. Herbicides, by design, kill any plant life that they touch. Thusly, farmers need to be careful about only spraying it on weeds, otherwise their crops will die.
Right. They have to go in with like a tiny little spray gun and go tss. Yeah.
When or where they spray herbicide becomes another annoying part of the whole equation of being a farmer, which is already quite a difficult job. Enter the invention of Roundup in the 20th century, which is an herbicide that is made from glyphosate. We talked about it briefly last episode. It's the thing that comes out of the ground that then... It's slag. The thing that...
Slag.
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 Slag. Glyphosate is made by refining phosphorus down to its elemental state, and then something science. Now it's
Okay,
an
the
herbicide.
phosphorus
Remember
is
that?
connecting.
Yeah.
Yep, the dots are connecting.
For its first 20-ish years, this product was banging for Monsanto. Farmers loved it. I guess glyphosate makes this herbicide quite potent, but it is still fundamentally like any other herbicide. Like, there's nothing special about it.
Everything dies, yeah.
Do you remember in the first episode that I told you that Monsanto was spending a fuck ton of money in research and development?
Yes.
And how they had a lot of pharmaceutical scientists and herbicide scientists? Herbicide. I keep saying herbicide. In the 90s, they launched what they pitch as a cool idea. What if I told you it was possible to take DNA of something like a tomato and edit it so as to be completely impervious to the herbicide Roundup?
Tomatoes extreme.
Super tomato.
You could be growing your tomatoes and blast them all you want with this herbicide, thereby eliminating bugs but keeping the tomatoes. Imagine the world.
Wow.
Even further, what if instead of breeding generations and generations of tomatoes to yield bigger, sweeter, longer-lasting ones, what if you just edited their DNA to circumvent the process? What if you could program a tomato to grow faster? Imagine the efficiency. Imagine the possibilities. Imagine the amount of famine you could prevent, the amount of unused topsoil you'd save, the amount of people that you could feed. Are we enjoying?
In world hunger.
Exactly. Are we enjoying the view right now?
Yeah,
I love it.
I feel very pitched too.
Yeah. GMOs contain this is the rise of GMOs, genetically modified organisms, which I did not know that they contain DNA from other things. Like, that's how they edit it. So they'll take like genes from a cauliflower and put it into a tomato, and that's how it can be bigger. Isn't that neat?
Yeah, that is interesting.
It is also why we made breakthroughs in insulin for people.
What?
I have no idea.
Tomatoes?
Not tomatoes, no, GMOs. Like, genetically modifying shit is how we got to insulin for humans, like
cool.
humans making artificial insulin.
Isn't this like the plot of the new Jurassic Park movies?
Now I'm so glad that you brought that up.
Oh, shit. This is where it's going.
We're getting to dinosaurs, I promise. In 1996, Monsanto introduces a line of corn, soybeans, and potatoes that are Roundup ready. That is, they genuinely... Did you say corn? Oh, you say it like the corn kid?
Shout out to Corn Kid.
So this corn, soybeans, and potatoes are Roundup ready. That is, they can genuinely grow after being treated with one of the world's most potent herbicides. What do you guys think is going to happen?
Dinosaurs.
You're so right.
Oh my God, we did it.
We got it. Case closed. Episode done.
Doesn't it poison the soil?
Okay. That's one guess. Correct.
Okay, all right.
Any other guesses out here? Based on what you've been listening to for the past 4.5 hours.
And just because it kills the plants, like, what happens when we eat that then?
Okay, correct. Any other guesses
What
from
I'm
the
hearing
crowd?
are there are no wrong answers.
You're kind of hearing right.
I'm hearing that, like, the vibes are good on the surface, but it's the kind of party where, like, if you go to the basement, there is, in fact, bad. There's asbestos in the air.
Yeah.
What a fantastic metaphor.
Way to
was
finish
so
that sentence, Andy.
The milk was made, my friend.
Listen, I squeezed and nothing came out.
So if your answer was maybe, do people get cancer from this? The answer is yes. Environmental degradation? Of course. Untold human misery? You betcha. I don't think any new diseases come out of this one, but here's the thing. This is not going to be the focus of the episode, but you could basically find and replace almost any scenario from the past 2 episodes and just apply it to Roundup.
Right.
Dang.
Cancer, hiding stuff, getting in with government officials, making sure that things aren't regulated the way that they should be. Same shit, different toilet, if you will.
Yeah.
But that's not what this episode's going to be about.
Ooh.
I know, we're going somewhere different. I've done a lot of just like untold body horror and human misery, and it's like, man, this is going to get unlistenable at some point.
It's dinosaur time.
It's dinosaur time. I promise this is short, but just to reference the like cancer, untold human misery, this is a Dan Charles write-up from NPR. Quote, Miller, who's a lawyer on the People side, and his legal team showed the juries a whole collection of internal Monsanto emails. In one, company executives described phone calls with an official at the EPA. As Miller describes it, the official said, quote, I don't need to see any more studies. I'm going to declare Roundup safe, and I'm going to stop another agency from looking at it. Another Monsanto executive discussed ghostwriting papers on glyphosate safety that scientists could publish under their own names.
No.
All 3 trials ended with resounding verdicts in favor of the cancer victims. The juries ordered Bayer to pay, because it's Bayer now, to pay huge punitive damages. In the most recent case, the damages totaled $2 billion. Now, I wouldn't put that quote in for no reason. Just keep lax government agency vibes, like in your noggin.
You gullet.
This episode, we're going to be talking about patent laws.
Ooh, patent laws.
Yeah, that is. The full weight of Monsanto's legal arm will be felt, and it will be spectacular in its evil. This will be science-y, legally, politically. Meow meow. Who is ready?
Meow
Sounds
meow.
like a Jordan Peele movie.
Literally. This is from a CNN Money article. The chair of Monsanto at this time is Richard Shapiro, who was the guy who's not important enough to be in The Dropout.
Yeah. But it is Ben Shapiro's father.
Shapiro's
canonically.
Canonically. Quote, look, he says impatiently, I don't think it ultimately matters whether my soul is pure or I want to make a lot of money for share owners. We come out at the same place.
Jesus Christ.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
You ever just hear a sentence that you're like, oh, that came out of an evil person's mouth?
Yeah.
It's like, Jesus Lord.
Oh man, you exist on the same place that I do?
Yeah, right? Jesus. I thought you were a cartoon.
He sounded like he should be in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. This episode will take the shape of a bunch of like strands of hair being braided together. That's what I've decided the shape of the episode is.
Cornrows, if you will.
Oh, so true.
Ooh, corn.
Cone rows.
We're making something great here, ladies. Part 0.0 for
We're
some
making
reason.
something amazing.
Yeah.
Okay. Everyone must die in this room. No, don't laugh at that.
I got a yes. I got a yes. I got one yes. There could be 100 people in a room.
And the only one supporting Amy is our producer, Christine, who's not on mic.
I love a good corn pun.
Coming out of the shadows for one line on the podcast. I'm so glad she finally got a word in.
See, this is what I'm doing. I'm empowering.
Amy's empowering women.
I'm a feminist.
Support women in STEM.
And STEM, like plant.
Damn it! Everyone must go.
Part 0.0, flavor saver.
Oh?
We're starting with a non-Monsanto product that will be important in laying the groundwork for how we'll understand, evaluate, and distribute genetically modified crops like Roundup Ready beans or whatever.
Okay.
So throughout the 1980s, the biotech company Calgene, I'm going to say Calgene, it sounds more exotic, was developing a really cool kind of tomato. I want to expand on more on the story on this, but they were basically building off exciting and new GMO science. Apparently, the first genetically modified organism was only made in like 72.
Oh.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Tomatoes have this problem where they have a really short shelf life between being picked and being eaten.
I do know this.
Yeah. The way that most tomatoes are transported is that they're picked when they're unripe, shipped long distances, and then sprayed with ethylene gas, which acts as a plant hormone.
What?
So they're like, I guess, toggling plant puberty once they get to the shelves.
Wow.
I had no idea.
Me
Isn't that
neither.
the same gas that comes out of ripening bananas?
Ooh, I don't know.
Yeah.
Can you say that again as a statement?
I think that's the thing that comes out of bananas.
Noise.
Like the same gas, which is why you put the bananas in a paper bag if you want them to ripen faster. So the concentration of the gas that they're releasing also tells their siblings, I mean the banana that's next to them.
Is that a sibling or is that a lover?
Why not both?
Amy.
Yeet!
Listen, we're talking about GMOs here, okay?
Podcast
so
went off the rails.
I know. Literally, they're going to think we were trapped here the entire time. The flavor saver tomato is a tomato that extends the point between being picked and being eaten. So extends the plant's shelf life. I think they
it
are
saves
also
the
bitter.
flavor.
It saves the flavor. It's also spelled flavor saver with no O's because you're saving time, I guess, like spelling it.
Nice.
Why is that like a
Flavor saver.
I'm sorry.
The Flavsov was introduced by Calgene in something like 1992 or 1994. It had been tested all throughout the 80s, but it was only ready to be sold in the 90s. As it's the first of its kind, you're probably wondering, how did the FDA approve of it relatively quickly? Part 0.1, the science/FDA opinion on genetically modified crops.
Ooh.
Generally, we have to extensively test the toxicity of things like food coloring or other food additives because they're not naturally occurring. That is our general legal framework that we are looking at this by. By virtue of the fact that they're food additives, the FDA is hesitant to let it unregulated into the U.S. food economy. That said, when we were coming up with those rules to say we're going to test the toxicity of food coloring, the main argument from Calgene and others who were trying shit at the same time was something to the effect of, we're not introducing additives, we're changing the fundamental DNA of the plants. It is therefore natural, not an additive, and it is generally recognized as safe. That is like the argument.
Okay.
Wow.
Okay.
So with the
It's
FDA,
a cute little loophole.
Yeah.
the FDA with its relatively limited understanding and heavy business bias was like, dope. In its life, you don't need to run long-term tests on its safety or toxicity. As a result, we have never once had a long-term human study on the impact of GMOs. We still really don't.
Okay.
Really? That's so surprising.
I believe this is a quote from Marie Monique Robin, but I did not attribute it to her. But I'm pretty sure this is from Marie Monique Robin's The World According to Monsanto, written in 2005. It is the book I've been referencing this entire podcast.
Seminal text.
Seminal text. Quote, it's important to know that it contained, I can't read whatever the fuck this is, kanamycin resistance gene, and that its inventors had rightly concluded that the gene should be considered a food additive. They had therefore asked a laboratory to conduct I'm just going to start again. This is a quote from Marie Monique Robin's book, The World According to Monsanto. Quote, but it is important to know that it contained the kanamycin resistance gene and that its inventors had rightly concluded that the gene should be considered a food additive. They had therefore asked a laboratory to conduct toxicology tests designed to measure the health effects of transgenic tomatoes on rats. Transgenic meaning like genes. They've
Moved them.
moved, yeah. transgenic tomatoes on rats. But the FDA did not know yet the results of the study when it published its own regulation.
Oh.
It was later found that 7 of the 40 test animals had died after 2 weeks for unexplained reasons, and that a significant number of them had developed stomach lesions. Even so, adhering to its dogma, the agency had given Calgene the green light on May 18th, 1994.
Wow.
I also have a question.
Yeah, what's up?
Well, I guess then if they ran toxicology tests, then they also made other different rats eat nothing but normal un-GMO tomatoes for 2 weeks. I feel like that would give anyone stomach lesions.
Are you talking about like the acid in tomatoes?
Yeah.
I do not know enough about science
Neither
to
do I.
dispute that.
I don't know.
But I feel like if I ate nothing but tomatoes for 2 weeks, I would feel a type of way as well.
Mm.
That's not me playing devil's advocate and saying that GMOs should all be
I
good.
don't know, Amy.
Yeah, I'm a little bit like, it seems like you're playing the devil's advocate if somebody doesn't know what the
I just am
science.
more curious to read this study.
I would also be curious to read the study. I will say, I feel like I'm very open about the fact that I don't read the studies. I just read what
You read what other people have written about the
You
study.
read what
Exactly.
French people have said about this.
I'm glad he brought up that she's French again, because I feel like it did need to be said.
Yes.
So this Flavor Saver hits the market, but it never really takes off. Honey, she flopped. She did not give what needed to be gived by tomato standards. This tomato is really expensive to produce for obvious reasons.
Okay.
It also comes with it the widespread global hesitance towards GMOs. This is a really big thing in the late 90s. A bunch of TV news stations start publishing animal studies that similarly do not look very good. There's a kind of GMO panic in the 90s. This is also a fun fact per Wikipedia. The FDA did not implement mandatory labeling of foods derived from biotechnology, so like labeled bioengineered, until January 2022.
Yeah, isn't that like an Obama era policy that like wasn't adopted? It was like held up for a long time.
Yeah, we had talked about this kind of in episode 1. They were going to do mandatory labeling of all GMO foods, and then they settled for putting it like behind a barcode.
Oh
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the Flavor Saver hits the market. It flops. Calgene spent a lot of money on this for no good
They
reason.
thought it was gonna be the It Girl.
But you want to know what happened to Calgene? It was acquired by Monsanto.
Woo!
Oh, snap.
Yeah, that was my little John.
That was good. That was a good, little John.
Thank you. I've been working on that for a long time. Monsanto shelved this Flavor Saver tomato, but in the process of acquiring Calgene, it also got its hands on a number of patents that will help it gain a monopoly in certain areas of GMO crops.
Damn.
Here we go.
What were the patents?
They have a bunch of fucking numbers. But we'll talk about them. We'll talk about them.
266.
Ooh, to shout out 266.
266. Ooh,
Were they
that's a
were
good
they
one.
patents for like the physical plants, or were they patents for like the technology that
Ooh,
allowed
that's
the
what we're
genes?
gonna talk
Okay.
about.
Ooh, spoilers.
It didn't really matter that Flavor Saver had flopped in the grand scheme of things. It opened the floodgates for a shit ton of other GMO stuffs because it was the thing that the FDA said, okay, this is fine. So
blueprint.
everyone, she was the blueprint, honey.
The pink print, the tomato print.
She was the pink
The
print.
Nicki Minaj of the group.
I love that album.
Hey.
Part 0.1. Why did I label those like this? I don't think I kept labeling them like this. Anyways, part 0.1. JEM versus Pioneer Hybrid. So this is a completely separate thing that we're about to start talking about. Remember 2 seconds ago when I said Monsanto acquired a number of patents?
Yes.
do.
Let's talk about patent law. 2001. You might remember from episode 1, a surprise tool to help us later. Clarence Thomas
Yes.
was a Monsanto attorney in the 70s before he eventually landed on the Supreme Court.
Oh God! Shout out.
There is a major case of
Actually,
patent
reverse
law.
shout out. Silence.
A moment of silence for the life of Clarence Thomas. So JEM, they're both like, I don't know, agriculture companies. I don't fucking care. JEM resold Pioneer corn seed bags without authorization from Pioneer. Pioneer had found out and sued for patent infringement.
Like you're taking my secret special corn.
Cone.
Sorry.
The argument, I guess, boiled down to, is a sexually reproducing plant's progeny also allowed to be patented? That becomes the fundamental question of this case. So Clarence Thomas authors the majority decision that, yes, and Pioneer wins. The majority opinion is that Congress hasn't passed anything saying otherwise.
Oh my God.
And counting plants as something you could patent fits with their our current laws and understanding of patents.
Okay.
So they're like, for sure. There's also some legal precedent for this called Chabernathy versus something. Anyways, they say that yes, sexually reproducing plants' progeny is also allowed to be patented.
Okay.
Wow.
All right, I know. We're doing this. We're braiding this together, y'all. I'm very excited about this.
Braiding the threads.
Braiding the threads.
I mean, honestly, this works with humans too.
How do you mean?
Nepotism babies.
Are you calling corn nepotism babies?
No, I'm just.
You lost me.
Okay, what my brain did just now.
Give me your L word, red tape, connecting.
Parent corn patented, right? And the question is the baby also a patent if the parent is patented, right? So, like, famous people's babies are also famous, even though they've done nothing to be famous other than be related to the famous people.
Your mind is an elegant tapestry that I love seeing
Christ.
weaved before me every day.
Lord of mercy. What's happening over there?
There's a lot happening in all of our minds. Are we brain rotted? Maybe.
I think we're expanding.
So, ooh, I love that for us.
Yuck.
Now what Monsanto is able to do with its business strategy is explicitly write in its contract of Roundup Ready crops that you cannot save or store any of the genetically modified seeds from year to year. You have to buy new ones every year.
Whoa, so that you are only growing clones of whatever they have in their laboratory, basically.
I don't think clones is the right word. Like, they make a certain amount of the seeds every
Right.
year for these Roundup-resistant plants. They say you cannot save them yourself and create your own progeny from them. We have to keep selling you new ones.
Right, so you have to keep buying them from the source.
Exactly.
Which, like, just puts you back because one of the reasons why farming eventually becomes profitable for small farmers is that over time, if you collect your own seeds, then you don't have to pay anyone to get seeds.
So true, bestie.
Wow.
And like I mentioned at the beginning, this goes against like the thousands and thousands of years of agriculture practices that humans have just simply done,
They
which
said-
is save seeds year to year.
Yeah, they said evolution ends here.
They said enough. Enough is enough.
This is the tomato's final form. We're done inventing tomatoes.
I feel like I have vaguely heard that before, that like a lot of produce is actually just a descendant of like one thing.
Oh.
And
Like bananas?
Yeah.
I keep talking about bananas. I don't know
think is
why.
the one, yeah.
Aren't all bananas the same like species now?
Yeah, they're just
We
It
have
used to
no
be purple
biodiversity.
or some shit.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I think there still are
Still
different
are?
kinds of bananas.
Yeah.
But I
think
mean,
they are,
I was
but
talking about the Gros Michel banana.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And we're all familiar with the Gros
Well,
Michel.
of course, the Grossman Michelle banana.
So
The banana.
this goes against, again, tens of thousands of years of human history, or millions. I don't know. How long have we had agriculture? I don't fucking know.
10 days.
Additionally, farmers are meant to sign a technology agreement when they acquire the seeds.
A technology agreement?
I have, in fact, read the technology agreement circa 2008. I'm about to read to you the Center for Food Safety's report about it circa 2005, but it's a relevant time period. Quote, when they sign Monsanto's technology agreement, farmers consent to significant invasions of their private property and personal records. The agreement allows Monsanto to access records concerning farmers' activities held by a number of third parties, such as the U.S. government. In particular, the agreement allows Monsanto to review USDA Farm Service Agency crop reporting information on any land farmed by the grower. Access to the FSA form helps Monsanto to determine how many bags of seed a farmer was sold and how many acres of a particular crop were planted. This data can also be used to identify adjacent fields owned by neighboring growers, who may themselves be potential targets of Monsanto's investigations without their consent.
Oh, because if like stuff gets into the soil, then soil doesn't listen to fences.
You might have just said, did you just say investigations? Yes, I did. Anyways.
Smooth.
Yeah, I know, right? Very smooth. So here's an additional two pieces from the agreement that are reproduced by the Center for Food Safety. Quote, this is like in the agreement itself. To allow Monsanto to examine and copy any records and receipts that could be relevant to the grower's performance of this agreement. 2, If Monsanto reasonably believes that a grower has planted saved cottonseed containing a Monsanto genetic trait, Monsanto will request invoices or otherwise confirm that fields in question have been planted with newly purchased seed.
Otherwise confirm?
Yeah, I bolded that. If this information is not provided within 30 days, Monsanto may inspect and test all of the grower's fields to determine if saved cottonseed has been planted.
What the hell?
So, this is going to get pretty freaking nut. But what are our initial impressions?
Well, first of all, I've been in this room listening to this kind of stuff so long that words like investigation, affidavit, human atrocity, and weird, hitherto unknown to humankind cancer honestly doesn't faze me anymore.
No. She's been shell-shocked.
I was like, you know what? The investigation should have been the word that jumped out to me, but instead I was thinking about dirt. And how dirt doesn't listen to where fences are, and I think that's cool about dirt.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, this is going to be bad for dirt. I can already tell later.
Oh, poor dirt.
Yeah. The first thing that comes to mind is that I feel like I know a lot of I know a lot about racism, and what I do know is a lot about slavery and segregation. There were a lot of things that people got away with because there simply were not laws written down to say they couldn't.
Yeah.
And this feels like a lot of that.
I think you're so right. There is not a law saying you can't do it, so let's do it.
Yeah.
So it must be good.
So therefore, this is new exciting technology, not a hitherto unforeseen human atrocity. So, here's where we're going to go with this, right? It's that Monsanto is absolutely going to start suing the shit out of people. And I mean suing the absolute fucking shit out of it. But I wanted to take a step back and think, what's the industry standard for suing your own customers?
Yeah.
But there isn't really a lot of technology out there like a plant. That is, your TV doesn't birth another TV when you get it. You know what I mean?
I wish. That would be cute.
I want to do a step. It would be adorable. It births out a little phone.
mini little tablet, and then you can grow and nourish it with I don't know, streaming services.
What's going on?
Pay attention to it, love it,
room?
and it gets bigger.
We're thinking about baby TV. I'm bored.
Baby TV is a phone now?
To me, my
What
phone is baby
happened?
TV.
Yeah, you watch a lot of stuff on your phone.
Yeah, I do.
Jesus.
So anyways, I did want to establish some sort of normal when it comes to patent infringement, just so I could set Monsanto next to something. So if we start crazy, how we gonna get crazy? But here's the thing. I could literally find 0 examples of major companies suing their own customers for patent infringement.
That's nuts.
Some of the closest examples I can think of were knockoff bag distributors. The thing is, it's just not worth it to ever sue them individually, though, because
Right.
most lawsuits against them are customer to customer for counterfeit goods.
Yeah.
Dolce & Gabbana doesn't sue some random New York bag seller. It just is not worth the time and money, and
Right.
you'll get nothing out of it.
Plus, they make them.
Yeah, plus they make them. I then thought of bootlegged Adobe software, Photoshop, Acrobat, Illustrator. The day that Adobe launched its cloud-based series in 2013, so its move away from discs, that day it was pirated, publicly available.
Damn.
Yet Adobe focuses on employers who are bootlegging it, which is hardly ever a mom and pop shop. It's always a big company.
Right.
The most recent one that I could find was against Forever 21.
Obsessed.
Shouts.
May they rest.
Used to work there. Shout it. Hope y'all end your lives soon. Let's go.
Did you work in Forever 21 corporate or the store?
I worked in the store.
Well, apparently at Forever 21 corporate, they were all bootlegging Adobe products.
Let's go. That sounds right up their alley.
So Adobe sues employers like that. So in a way, it is suing its own customers, but its customers are all huge businesses.
Right.
Yeah.
And so it's not really a big business to Farmer John situation.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
Or Johnette.
or Johnette, yeah. I know that you're just referencing my farmer,
Yes.
Farmer John,
Yes.
but
Not that he would ever buy Monsanto seed.
no. Oh my God, no, he would never.
He would
Couldn't.
never.
He would never. Farmer John slays. So in that way, this is another Monsanto invention, suing the shit out of your own customers that are rural farmers. I did not look up any other GMO company suing its customers. It's perhaps also what they do.
It's because Monsanto's the blueprint. So.
Monsanto's the blueprint. I'm just one girl with a hobby podcast. So if there's more GMO companies suing their customers, I don't know, man. I just wanted to say that Monsanto is really out here inventing new shit every day.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Please support Christian on Patreon.
Yeah, please. So we're going to talk about the first farmer, not the first one, but just a very important farmer lawsuit for patent infringement.
Who's the farmer?
His name is Percy Schmeiser. He lives in the
Farmer
town...
Schmeiser.
Farmer Schmeiser. He lives in the town of Bruno, Saskatchewan in Canada.
Saskatchewan.
Saskatchewan is where my favorite beaver YouTuber lives.
Do you know several beaver YouTubers?
No, I
dude?
only subscribe to Mike.
It's also where John Campia lives. Shout out to John Campia of the John Campia podcast. Let's go.
Aw, shout out. Percy Schmeiser takes over his family farm in 1954. I guess it's also a gas station and a farm equipment store. It's a
Okay.
whole operation.
Oh.
He has been a very active community member in Bruno, Saskatchewan. He was even part of the team that picked the flag of Saskatchewan.
Oh,
Wow.
huge.
I know. I believe he was briefly mayor. Anyways,
Oh,
this
wow.
man will become important enough to have several movies made about him.
Oh my
What?
gosh.
One of which is titled Percy, starring Christopher Walken in the titular role. Of this portrayal, his son says,
Okay,
quote,
wait.
Oh,
That's such a serve, though. Like, imagine
work.
that's such a compliment.
That Christopher Walken plays you in a movie?
Yeah.
Well, his son says, quote, my mom was a little disappointed that Christopher Walken had a goatee, as my father never did. But in the end, we're very happy about the portrayal. I'm actually going to play a clip.
I just think I should have a goatee.
I'm going to play a clip from this trailer. There's a...
You're Christopher.
That's what Christopher Walken said.
The person who is playing the
would have a goatee. I
Monsanto
think
lawyer
they would.
truly is a jump scare, but I'm going to play it for the two of you. I think I will edit in the audio so that way like everyone else can hear it.
Yeah.
But let's go. Here we go. Don't look at my YouTube recommended. It's all catch points. Okay. Oh, no! No sound. Okay. Here we go. We're doing it. It's going to be like 20 seconds.
Package for Mr. Percy Schmeiser. Monsanto's claiming the canola you grew in
Zach Braff!
technology and the seeds gene that they created.
Dater of young women, Zach Braff.
Okay, I'm sorry. I just wanted to emphasize that Zach Braff is the main evil lawyer the entire movie. It's all Zach Braff.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah, that's incredible.
Anyways, this film, but the trailer is like a Home Depot commercial turned horror movie.
Honestly, Nope vibes.
It gives big Nope vibes.
I really want to watch that. What's the movie called?
It's called Percy. It was released in 2020, starring Christopher Walken.
What streaming services is it on?
I have no idea.
We'll figure it out.
It can't be fucked to find out. Anyways, so this movie comes out in the year of our Lord 2020. I just wanted to say that Zach
In the
Braff
year of
was
our
a-
Lord 2020?
Yes.
Oh my god, I thought it was from a while ago.
No. Zach Braff had this meaty role in literally 2020. Oop, Blender Blue is picking up my computer again. Oh, to put it.
I'm sorry. I'd be so scared that you would accidentally roll over it.
Aw, that is so nice of you.
I'm getting out my phone to Google how I can watch this movie.
I'm busy in the middle of a podcast. You want to Google it?
Yes.
All right, fine. So anyways, he takes over his family business in 1954. In 1997, there was a truck that passed by his farm that would forever change the course of his life. Or maybe a bird changed the course of his life. The thing is, we
Uh-oh.
don't really know.
Shout out birds.
So either way, it's either through a truck spill or animals moving seeds around that some Monsanto Roundup ready canola would end up on his farm.
This is quite literally the plot to the new Jurassic World. This is so like the same thing.
I will actually tell this in the most pro-Monsanto way possible so as to continue illustrating how fucked up all this is. But it is well acknowledged, I believe, that it is an accident that the first seeds land on his farm.
Okay.
It's somehow a bird or a truck or whatever. So, he had sprayed...
Carried on the wind.
He had sprayed weeds around it with the Roundup herbicide and noticed that those plants, it didn't have much of an effect on them.
Uh-huh.
So, the next year, it's some like 90% of his farm canola yield was Monsanto's Roundup Ready canola.
Mm-hmm.
They're able to tell by like testing the DNA of the plants, indicating that he figured out that he had Roundup Ready canola and just saved the seeds for next year. But he had never actually bought them. They just
Okay.
they happened upon his farm.
Right.
He saved them, planted the shit out of them for next year. Then had like more than 90% of Monsanto seeds on his field. Monsanto catches wind of this, and if you're thinking a random Saskatchewan farmer, why does Monsanto know? We'll talk about it. And they decide to politely serve him some papers. It's something to the effect of, please don't plant this canola anymore, also pay us a bunch of money, and this won't go to court.
Played by
Percy's-
Zach Braff.
Played by Zach Braff. Yes, Zach Braff personally delivered the papers. Percy says, no, actually, I'm going to save my fucking seeds because it's my farm and I can do whatever I want. And also, I never signed anything. So go fuck yourself.
Right.
Monsanto brings the entire weight of their legal team down on this one man, and he will spend the rest of his life savings, and most of his waking hours trying to fight against Monsanto.
Oh, wow.
Oh, shit.
They punish this man for being alive. To reframe, Monsanto spends the next 20-odd years just squishing this guy into the ground despite the fact that he had absolutely no discernible market influence. Like, it was a big farm, but he's not a multinational corporation,
Right.
you know what I mean? He's a farmer.
And now there are movies being made about this guy.
Yeah.
And, like, they're pro-Percy.
Initially, and forgive me, a lot of this is from Wikipedia, but initially Monsanto had asked him to pay the technology fee for using their patented seed. That's the first thing that he says fuck no to. He says, fuck you, Zach Braff, I'm not doing that. Then in court, they sought $15 per acre, which at 1,030 acres would be about $15,000 plus costs. Then it becomes, because the court is like, no. Then it becomes a principle thing. He's using our patented technology without paying for it, and you can't do that. That's wrong. That's illegal. So the court rules 5-4 that Percy did in fact infringe on Monsanto's patent. However, because he didn't spray his crops with Roundup after like the first year, he received literally no benefits of this patented genetic modification. Thus, they ruled 9-0 that he didn't owe Monsanto anything.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Yes.
But he still had to pay for all of his legal fees.
Oh,
God
no.
damn.
And he becomes somewhat of a folk hero in the agriculture community for
Right.
spending the rest of his life fighting against Monsanto. He
Yeah.
did die in 2020.
Oh,
Aww.
R.I.P. to a king.
I know. 89 years old. Old
Shout out
dude.
to Christopher. Wait. Christopher Walken. When did he die?
Christopher Walken's still alive.
Yeah, he's still alive.
What?
He's
Percy
with us.
Schmeiser is the one who died.
Oh my god.
I know. Christopher Walken is still with
Christopher
us.
Walken's not
died.
method like that.
Yeah, honestly, I feel like he'd be a better actor if he maybe was a little more method. So he...
Well, I know Ray Liotta died. I feel like there was another Goodfellas level person who died.
I could not tell you because I could not tell you any like adult white male actor's name.
Damn.
I genuinely can't.
That's fair.
I conjured up Christopher Walken because his name is literally on the title card. But other than that, I could
Wow.
not.
I could have sworn he died.
In a stunning "Are we the bad guys" moment, Monsanto hired some intern to go on its website. I just assume it's an intern. To go on its website and respond to the allegations that Monsanto sues random small farmers, essentially taking on the role as like the seed police. This becomes a very popular sentiment in the wake of Percy Schmeiser's legal proceedings. Like people view Monsanto as like this big bully that just
Right.
bullies the shit out of random farmers. So, from Monsanto's archived website, quote, "Since 1997, we have only filed suit against farmers 145 times in the United States.
Only.
This may sound like a lot, but when you consider that we sell seeds to more than 250,000 American farmers a year, it's really a small number. Of these, we've proceeded through trial with only 11 farmers. All 11 cases were found in Monsanto's favor." Under this section, why does Monsanto sue farmers to save seed? They write, quote, "A very small percentage of farmers do not honor our technology agreement. Monsanto does become aware, through our own actions or through third parties, of individuals who are suspected of violating our patents and agreements. Where we do find violations, we are able to settle most of them without ever going to trial. In many cases, the farmers remain our customers. Sometimes, however, we are forced to resort to lawsuits."
Wow.
They really yada yada over how they find out that farmers are.
Yeah.
I was like, who's snitching? The soil?
I'm so excited to tell you. I wish someone was playing circus music behind this because I think this is such clownery on their website. Thank you for honoring my request. They have dedicated web pages with farmers' names on it who they've sued.
Oh my gosh,
On this
What?
website.
This is like Scientology, where they just make hate websites for people who disagree with them for no reason.
This is on like the proper whatever it was, Monsanto.com or MonsantoBusiness.com, whatever it was.
This is wild.
The truth is, they have a Percy Schmeiser page. The truth is, Percy Schmeiser is not a hero. He's simply a patent infringer who knows how to tell a good story.
No.
Unlike his neighbors and the vast majority of farmers who plant without a license, or plant patented seeds, Schmeiser saved seed that contains Monsanto's patented technology without a license. As indicated by the trial court in Canada, the seed was not blown in on the wind nor carried in by birds, and it didn't spontaneously appear. Schmeiser knowingly planted the seed in his field without permission or license, and by doing so, he used Monsanto's patented technology without permission. In fact, the courts determined this in 3 separate decisions.
Okay, boo-hoo.
Literally, boo-hoo. This is one guy. That they have an entire webpage. They're a multi-billion-dollar global corporation at this point.
Why are they so
And-
butthurt?
Right?
They're not losing any money.
It feels disproportionate. I get that Percy Schmeiser, and he's really the only one with any meaningful media attention, right? Like,
Yeah.
none of the other farmers get nearly this level of coverage from any organization. So it's just confusing that he's also put in the same, like, pedestal as the other farmers that are named on the website, of which there are, like, 7. Okay, apparently I'm the only one who finds that insane.
It is insane.
It's just, I can't even wrap my head around it.
It's like, I don't know. It's like, why is this giant mega billion-dollar corporation deciding to hate on one small town man who didn't really do anything that wrong, actually? And
Maybe the answer is just plain old pettiness.
Ooh.
Like, maybe it's like, I don't know, because I can't think of a good reason.
I mean, if you were that rich and that removed from everyday society and have probably actually never farmed or grown anything in your life because everything you touch dies because you're so evil, do you think you would be that petty?
I mean, rich
As a
people are
supervillain?
bored.
Yeah, rich people are bored.
Am I hearing a tapping? I feel
Yeah.
like I keep hearing
I
a
also
tapping.
feel like I hear a tapping.
Yeah.
What am I hearing a tapping from? Oh, is it from us shuffling around in seats?
Oh, maybe that is what it is.
Aha. Okay, Sowie!
No more shuffling around in
No
seats,
more shuffling.
everyone.
We're getting serious in here. No more shuffling, serious time. What they don't have a webpage for is Chem Ralph, spelled K-E-M Ralph. Let's discuss. At some point in the 90s.
Farmer Ralph?
Farmer Ralph.
Okay.
Chem Ralph buys Monsanto seeds. Again, I will tell this as pro-Monsanto as I can muster, just to, again, illustrate how insane this is. But I will mention that he vehemently denies ever signing the infamous technology agreement. Chem Ralph does.
Okay.
And this is not an uncommon thing for people to say. A lot of people do claim that Monsanto forges signatures.
What?
Whoa.
But I will just assume that he did in fact sign it and he is lying, just to once again illustrate that even so, Monsanto still is so fucked up.
Yeah.
So, somebody places a tip to Monsanto that he's been saving seeds, which he and every other farmer ever readily admits to. Like, he saves seeds and then he plants them year to year.
I feel like that would be a really hard habit to break as a lifelong farmer.
You might be saying, what do you mean they received a tip? Like, how does Monsanto receive a tip about a random farmer in this random place in the United States?
Yeah.
They have a hotline for farmers to report one another.
No way.
The number is publicly available, and you can
This is
still
a
call
public-
it to this day.
Yeah, no, this has to be a public action that everyone that listens to this podcast calls in a fake tip.
I want to take time to explicitly tell y'all that please do not call the number.
Oh no.
I know that it's a big form of activism right now to call numbers that people tell you to do, but harassing whatever employees on the other line, like Monsanto has the resources to deal
Right.
with spam calls, and you're just going to get me in trouble. Please do not call them. I'm begging you, please don't call the number. That said, I did obviously call the number. I just wanted to see if it was still active, which it is in fact still active. You press 3 and then someone actually responds to you.
Wow.
Anyways, it is still in fact a thing, and they do get quite a few tips on it.
That's insane.
Is there like a website that like tracks it, or is it just internal Monsanto?
Internal Monsanto tracking.
Wow, you call into the void and Monsanto answers.
Monsanto answers, and they will descend their troops upon you.
Oh my
Why would a
God.
farmer snitch on another farmer?
Well,
Yeah, do you get paid?
no. Monsanto's argument, their public-facing business communication about it, is that farmers don't want to feel like I'm paying for this seed when my neighbor doesn't have to. It's also a series of,
Student loans.
I mean, fair. It is the classic student loans argument. But it is also a thing of they have very targeted marketing towards farmers, and they'll say, like, you'll get in huge trouble if your neighbor has these seeds and it blows onto yours too. Like, there's also some self-preservation in there of, like, if any of this blows onto my field, I'm also fucked. So I'm just going to call it in because I know that this is happening.
This is snitch culture.
Or it's snitch culture, or it's this. A lot of farmers complain that this is, like, destroying the fabric of farmer communities because it is
Yeah.
tearing people apart.
And also, I'm so how you know that it's Monsanto seed is if you use Monsanto herbicide and it doesn't die.
That is correct. It is also, I believe, genetically modified to such a degree that you can tell by
Like looking at it?
I think, do not quote me on that though.
Okay.
I have literally no idea.
Okay.
But through an anonymous tip, Chem Ralph is reported to Monsanto. Once Monsanto receives a tip, a few things will happen. First, they will hire a company to come out and survey your land, as it's perfectly legal for them to do because you signed the fucking agreement.
Right. So
Second,
that people can be in your yard at any time.
literally. They can also take aerial photographs of your yard.
Oh my God. Google Satellite who?
Second, they'll hire a law firm. In Missouri, for example, they use the services of Hush and Eppenberger LLC to handle serving your ass. Then they serve you papers. Once Chem Ralph was served, he freaks the fuck out, as is kind of a reasonable response.
I mean, imagine just going about your daily life. You're like in Jewel or something, and then someone comes up to you and like just hands you papers, or you go home, and then all of a sudden there's like a giant, manila envelope saying that you've done something wrong and you owe thousands and thousands of dollars.
Mm-hmm. Or you'll be brought to court where you have to pay even more money. Yeah. So Chem Ralph makes a pretty bad choice. He then burns all of the seed that could have been used as evidence against him in court. Them's the breaks.
Thug.
So he obviously gets caught, and then he is sentenced to several months in prison for
What the
destroying
fuck?
evidence. Yeah. Things did not improve for him once he was released, as the judge, who, by the by, used to work at Hush and Eppenberger LLC.
No.
God.
Oh my God.
He is sentenced to pay $3 million in damages to Monsanto.
No. What the fuck? How do they calculate that?
Holy shit.
Your guess is as good as mine.
My feelings are hurt. That's $1 million.
You're like, owie.
I cut my finger open on the envelope that I was licking to send to serve your ass. That's another $1 million.
That's $1 million for me. I'm also baby, so that's my other $1 million.
I'm baby TV.
I'm baby TV.
I'm phone.
I love unintelligible bits. I'm sorry this perhaps isn't very good storytelling, but the man obviously does not have this money. He has since filed Chapter 11 bankruptcy to try and save some of his assets, and he's truly fucked for the rest of his life. There's no meaningful way to come back from this one.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
So, that one is not on Monsanto's website. I can't imagine why.
Imagine being like the neighbor that called in that tip.
I know. This is part of the article, but I didn't put it down in the thing, but I'm pretty sure the neighbor was like, well, I was nervous that I was going to get fucked too. And, oh no, Chem Ralph said, I burned all the seed because I knew they were coming from my neighbors, so it was self-preservation, but also preservation for other people.
Damn.
That is what he says.
My man was being a hero.
I know. I feel for him. It's not a great choice to burn all the
Yeah.
evidence.
Right.
That's not going to end well for you.
True.
However, I can really understand the thinking that would go behind that, which is,
Yeah.
I'm fucked for the rest of my life. I will do anything to not get caught
Yeah.
because I just have practiced the time-honored tradition of saving my fucking seeds because farmers should just be able to do that.
Yeah.
So, let's scale it up a little bit. As mentioned earlier, the Center for Food Safety's report that I was quoting from was from 2005. As of 2010, they released a follow-up. In the 70-something recorded judgments against farmers that Monsanto had waged, they had made $23 million
From the farmers
in the United States alone.
Oh my God.
The largest judgment was of $3 million, which is, I can only assume, Chem Ralph. The smallest judgment was for $5,000, which is not
That's
not
a
nothing.
lot of money.
The average judgment was $171,000.
That's
Jesus Christ.
so much money.
It is unfathomable, especially for a farmer in the
Yeah.
United States, to just cough up $170,000 plus your legal fees plus whatever else, and you have to pay this to, again, a multi-billion-dollar corporation for hurting his feelings and for like patent infringement. Like, that is what this is.
Oh my God, this is so insidious.
Right? Isn't this a different kind of insidious than before?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are we having so much fun?
This is a different flavor of debauchery that,
Right?
that we are seeing from Monsanto.
Yeah.
Because, like, there's one on the other hand to cause just, like, human harm medically and to wage war and just cause suffering that way. But I feel like making people sign a contract that... And, like, I doubt that there's actually a person out, like, there that actually explains everything in the contract and, like, what that means of, like, people can be in your yard whenever. And, like, people can, if seeds blow into your neighbor's yard, then your neighbor is also going to, like...
Be investigated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, like, just trying to fracture communities and, like, turn your customers into cash cows that way is so insidious.
It's
like,
crazy
so
that
bad.
they've hit the trifecta of physical, emotional, and financial abuse.
The infamous trifecta.
Yeah.
You know,
The holy trinity of
They're like
shit.
putting their rings in together.
by the end of the season, I feel like it might be a square or a pentagon or like a pentagon.
Ooh. Maybe a dodecahedron.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I
that's
know
so funny.
shapes.
Yeah, I know that shape too.
It's 12, right?
Yes.
Yeah, of course, Amy, you fool. You think it'd be 11? Get out of here.
What is 11?
Icosahedron? No, that's 20 maybe.
Yeah, you fool.
Yeah, Amy.
Amy, leave.
Oh, that's a million. You hurt my feelings.
So the Center for Food Safety is also able to see the judgments that Monsanto settled. I'm sorry, judgments. The cases that Monsanto settles outside of court.
Okay.
That's not publicly available information, so you're probably wondering, how did they get their hands on it? Monsanto would just post it themselves.
Wow.
They would post, this is like a screen grab from their website, of how much they would sue farmers for, how much they settled for in Illinois alone, and a map of where they were like suing farmers.
Oh my
And this was put on their website as a warning to farmers. Like, if you fuck up our patent infringement, we will come for you. So they put all of this on their website. And I highly recommend the Center for Food Safety's Appendix 1 in the 2010 update, which is linked in the description. It adds up all of these Monsanto settlements. And at minimum, again, this is pre-2010, Monsanto settled with farmers out of court and made, again, bare minimum, $85 million.
Oh my god. This is like an entirely separate revenue stream then.
Yes.
Like, this is like a system that they have set up purposefully so that they can make money through backdoor, like, dealings. I mean, I say dealings, but backdoor extortions of rural farmers. And, like, that is an entirely separate and valid revenue stream within their company that they work to uphold, along with normal people behavior of selling products and, like, getting money from selling a valid product.
But it's crazy because this is chump change to them.
Right?
And
This
it's
is chump change to them.
life-ruining to everyone else.
I feel like, so what you said about it being a valid revenue stream, totally fair, but I also do feel like it's just a closed feedback loop of their lawyers, like getting their own
right.
fucking money.
That's really just it.
What else could it be? Like,
Right. Like, people, like, lawyers can make their livelihood being suing farmers for Monsanto.
Yeah.
And then people in Monsanto can just have a job at Monsanto, and all they do is, like, monitor the tip line and, like, listen to farmers tell on each other. And this is like a little yeah, like
microcosm of that.
yeah, it's like a division almost, like, within the company, and their only job is
It's
to, like,
an
make
elite
farmers
corps.
suffer.
elite core scammers.
The SWAT team.
Yeah. I was going to read something else from this page, but I could not have said it any better myself. That is exactly what we've got. They also call it seed piracy matters. They call it seed piracy. Which
Yikes.
is so silly.
Hey, seed piracy matters.
Seed piracy matters.
Good morning, seed pirates.
Yuck.
Susan.
This morning we're gonna make you stand for 4 hours.
Yuck.
Oh, no, I'm cutting that. I'm cutting that down, Rumsfeld reference. Susan Lockhart, the trait stewardship coordinator, said, quote, this is of the hotline that Monsanto has set up, because they
Okay.
have people explaining from within Monsanto why they have this hotline, doing like corporate damage control.
Making that hotline bling.
Can only mean one thing.
I'm glad you lived up to your Drake standard.
Had to do it at least once.
Susan Lockhart, the trait stewardship coordinator, said, quote, people need someone to call. They can't just sit and stew about it. A lot of people that call have a personal sense of ethics that a line has been crossed. I feel really good about what I do.
Jesus
I don't do
Christ.
this because I enjoy putting people on the spot or having investigators go out and check them. I'm helping to make the playing field fair.
I am not a bad person. I am a good person actually, and my work is not bad, and you are bad for thinking that my work is bad. You are bad, I am good.
I don't even know why I read the quote.
See, this is why we gotta bring back bullying. Because this fucking nerd over here.
So her, I would assume boss at the time, it's the trait stewardship lead, Scott Beckham, said, quote, I think that we've reached a very good balance between what's best for society as a whole and what's best to motivate this new technology through being able to patent these kinds of advances. I think it's going to be a very sustainable way of feeding a growing world population.
Yuck.
Go fuck yourself, man. No way.
Seriously.
Oh my god.
That is silly.
Yeah, so that we can all eat only tomatoes because every single other edible thing has been killed by the one other product that you make.
To be clear, they do make more than just tomatoes.
Right.
Yeah. But I think it's going to be a very sustainable way of feeding a growing world population is so goofy to say. I love it for him. So listen, I think I've done a fairly decent job, a serviceable job, setting up how all of this works. Thank you. The legal mechanism that Monsanto can use to enforce its patent rights. But I don't think I've done that good of a job getting at the personal cost of having your life fucking wrecked by Monsanto.
Don't be so hard on yourself.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. But all that is to say, goddamn near every country with any meaningful agriculture industry, so all of them, has had this kind of interaction with Monsanto. They don't necessarily have the same issue of like small farmers getting the shit suit out of them, but an entire country will try and stand up to Monsanto and just lose. So they aren't much in the business of suing random farmers across the world. That's exactly what I just said. Quote, so I wanted to end on Marie Monique Robbins' interview with 2 Indiana farmers. They're just literal randos who settled with Monsanto outside of court.
Shout out to Indiana.
Shout out to Indiana.
Hey.
I think she just does a good job getting at the personal cost of all of this. Because even in what is a throwaway case for Monsanto, like, oh, we bullied them and then we won immediately.
Right.
Didn't have to spend years fucking with them in court.
Not even on the website.
Not even on the website. This is still the impact that it has. Quote, patents have changed everything, said Troy Roosh, an Indiana farmer who was a victim of the Gene Police. When I met him on his...
God, the Gene Police.
What a sick name. When I met him on his Van Buren farm in October 2006. Quote, I really advise European farmers to think very hard before they get into transgenic crops. Afterwards, nothing will be the same. Hearing this 6-foot-tall rugged man say these words while holding back both tears and anger was deeply moving. She is, again, French, so she's like, oh.
Oh, this country person has emotion.
Quote, his nightmare began in the fall of 1999 with a visit from a private detective from Monsanto.
What?
Who told them that he was, quote, doing an investigation of farmers who saved their seed. That year, Roosh, who ran a family farm with his brother and father, said he had planted 500 acres of Roundup Ready soybeans for a seed company with which he had signed a contract. He had also planted 1,200 acres of conventional soybeans with seeds that he had saved from his preceding harvest.
Okay, so he signed a contract with a separate company and with the sole purpose of gathering the seed from the soybeans?
He was legally planting Roundup Ready soybeans and just also his other soybeans.
Oh, okay.
So he's got 2 fields.
Okay.
One of which has Roundup Ready,
Okay.
one of which doesn't.
So when you say he contracted with the seed company, it means he bought the seeds
Yes.
instead of the company being designed to create more seeds.
All of these are still Monsanto seeds. I think
Okay.
he just bought them from a third party, which
Okay.
is still the same technology.
Totally, yeah.
Quote, it was very easy to tell which fields were under contract as the contract clearly stipulated, he told me. I offered to let the detective consult the documents and my herbicide invoices, but he refused.
What?
In May 2000, he was sued. Supporting Monsanto's claim was a topographical map and analyses of samples taken from his property without his permission. Quote, there were several glaring mistakes. For example, one of the suspected fields was in reality planted with conventional corn for the Weaver Popcorn Company, which I was easily able to prove. So they're on his farm. They're just like investigating people already in the area anyways.
Right.
They mistakenly think that he is illegally saving seeds or doing whatever and planting more than he should be. Quote, why did you negotiate a settlement with Monsanto, I asked. He responds, we had already spent $400,000 to establish our innocence.
Wow.
Oh my God.
So at that point, the best they can do is just settle and pay Monsanto whatever more money and
That's right.
let it go. Despite the fact that, once again, he literally did nothing wrong.
That's nuts.
But he saw the train coming for him
Yeah.
and spent nearly $500,000 fucking dollars just to say, I did not infringe your fucking patent.
No.
All right.
That's crazy.
They just don't Monsanto just doesn't know when to quit.
Literally, you can say a lot about them. But you can't say they don't know when to quit.
They don't know. They don't have to.
Quote, after 2.5 years, the family was totally wiped out. I no longer had the strength to face a trial with an uncertain outcome because precedent unfortunately favors Monsanto, which he's right, they've never lost in the United States for patent infringement, which has unlimited resources for this kind of case and has everything under control. If the company had won, we would have lost everything because it would have taken everything. Everything. Also, when I asked my lawyer what I would gain from going to trial, he told me, quote, just the glory of being found innocent.
Oh my God.
That's like, that's the best you can hope for is the glory of being found
my
that
God.
you didn't do it. In the middle of this conversation, David Runyon, another Indiana farmer who had been visited by detectives in 2003, came into the room. Well, I don't know if where are they hanging out? Where he just comes into the room. The detectives had left a business card with the name McDowell and Associates and a startling logo. A large M superimposed on a row of men wearing capes and black hats.
What? What?
According to him, these were Monsanto agents claiming to have an agreement with the Indiana Department of Agriculture authorizing them to inspect the fields of farmers suspected of piracy. David Runyon wrote immediately to Senator Evan Bay, who had checked the claim and confirmed that it was a lie, in a letter that Monique Robin has a copy of. Quote, patents ruined the life of rural communities, David Runyon told me, obviously very upset. They destroyed trust between neighbors. Personally, I only talk to 2 farmers these days, and before I agreed to meet with you or even talk to you on the phone, I checked on Google to see who you were. Oh. Anyways.
He only talks to 2 farmers.
Only 2 farmers.
That's crazy.
The large M superimposed on a row of men wearing capes and black hats has been killing me all day.
Yeah.
I have needed to tell somebody about
There
it.
was probably someone in the design room being like, all right, yo, this is gonna fuck.
It's gonna go so hard.
It's gonna make those farmers so scared.
Jesus Christ.
That's also the most "Are we the bad guys" thing I've ever seen.
Yeah.
It reminds me, I don't know why, of like the Dirty Bubble from SpongeBob and like that whole group of supervillains. Anyways, yeah, that is actually the end of what I had.
That's nuts.
So, okay, all of this is also to say, Roundup Ready crops also cause an incredible amount of destruction in Argentina, Brazil, India, for vastly different reasons that I have literally no time to talk about on the podcast.
Yeah.
There is a treasure trove of information out there that you can also find about more Roundup shit. I just wanted to clarify this patent infringement thing because it was interesting enough to talk about for a fucking hour. And here we are. What are our last impressions here, folks? How are we doing? Oh, also, all of this is assuming that the technology works, and it doesn't a lot.
Strangely, I think this one depressed me more than the body horror episode.
Why?
I don't know. I think there's something just like, I think it's because this is not like, Monsanto's not saving their ass. They're just doing this because they can. Like, all of this is
sorry.
meaningless, and they just ruin lives just cause nothing.
Because money go up.
Yeah, right. And it's not even money that they like need. Like you said, it just pays the lawyers who are doing this. Oh, wow.
And I think it's mostly a cultural capital thing where if people know that Monsanto is this big, scary, bully villain, they will not fuck around. And scientifically, the transgenic crops also contaminate other crops. Like it's not just some of them happen in your field, they also like mutate or whatever. I don't know enough about the science to fluently explain it, but I know that it's been a big problem of like Monsanto literally infecting, contaminating fields. There's fields in also Mexico that have been, you could think of any region in the world and you could just type in Monsanto after it and then you will find something. It will yield some sort of horrific Roundup Ready crop thing.
We gotta burn this place down.
I mean, I didn't say it. They also, wait, I do have one thing to end on. So because there's a problem of transgenic crops just like contaminating other crops, they came up with this one called the Terminator, which is programmed to be sterile and like self-destruct after its first life cycle, which then somehow also contaminates other seeds to become sterile.
Jesus Christ.
God, it's so terrible. And I wish I had the time to fluently explain the whole thing, but I don't. And we're here, and we are on the Busted Business Bureau Comedy Podcast.
Hell yeah, song. I see you out here.
Come through musical theater. Here's my sources. Enjoy.
Don't lie. These are okay. This is actually just a picture of Christian with her middle fingers up.
Both of them.
But I gotta raise them both up.
Beautiful press-on nails.
Thank you. So, yeah. How you guys doing?
Jesus Christ. We need Captain Planet more than ever.
Aw. Yeah, Blender Blue is depressed. Amy, how are you doing?
I'm okay.
Jesus.
I think corporate, like, I feel like I have the inverse relationship to human suffering that Blender does because it just, depresses me to hear about people experiencing illness and like physical pain.
Yeah.
And the bankrupting of innocent people and the litigiousness of evil corporations just for the sake of having a little bit of fun and like maybe saving a little bit of money is like more of a brain puzzle to me, because it's frustrating to me because I truly just, there's no reason for it. Like there's no reason for it that makes sense.
Yeah.
I am excited to tell you what the next episode's going to be about.
Oh shit.
I've titled, it's a working title, but I think I'm going to call the next episode something like Field Notes from the Death Star, or Work-Life Balance on the Death Star, which is going to be all about being an employee at Monsanto.
Yeah.
Cognitive dissonance, naming names. What is it like to literally be the bad guys?
Yeah.
Spoiler alert, it's fucking awesome.
Oh damn.
I will say nothing more on the subject until we get to the next episode. And if you're listening in order, please move on to the Monsanto 5 episode, whatever I've decided to title it. This has been Busted Business Bureau, Monsanto Season Episode 4. Once again, if you want to support the podcast, you can go on patreon.com/bustedbizbureau. Y'all want to plug anything on your way out?
Busted Business Bureau live show October 1st. October 20th, Not That Late Show, Newport Theater, 8 p.m.
Ooh, yeah.
Featuring TBD.
I love the Not That Late Show at the Newport Theater, which is on every last Thursday of the month, or every third Thursday.
Something like that.
It's on some Thursdays at some point. The Not That Late Show. It is an excellent show.
Hey.
Amy, anything else?
Leave me alone.
God damn.
All right, I will see you all. Episode 5. Bye.
Bye.